All right, guys, when we talk about shooting a silhouette, we're talking about something like this, where pretty much the figure, whatever you're taking a picture of, is completely blacked out, and then the background is glowing. Let me zoom out a little bit here. I'll give you a better look at what this looks like in a minute. But I just want to go through the settings with you real quick for your camera. In order to achieve this, you're going to want to be in manual mode. So you're going to want your dial to be on the letter M. I would just go ahead and turn on your automatic focus. You don't need to be in manual focus to do this. Okay. And then if you look at your screen, you'll notice you're in manual mode. And then this is going to show you your shutter speed and your aperture number. Remember, shutter speed is how fast or slow your lens is opening and closing, where your aperture or your F number is the size of the hole in your lens. Okay, remember, if you have a big aperture number, then you have a small opening or small hole in your lens. If your F number, for example, let's bring it down to 4.5, then the lens is wide open. Okay. In order to toggle back between both numbers, if you go on the wheel here, that's going to control my shutter speed. Okay. The lower I go, the longer my shutter is opened. The smaller the fraction, the longer my lens is open. My F number. That, if you hold this button down that says AV, or also has a little trash can on it, if you hold that down, you're going to notice that these little marks transfer over to your F number, and then you can use the same wheel and scroll through in order to change that. Okay. When you do this, go ahead and click on your ISO number. Okay, we haven't talked much about this yet, but the ISO controls the sensitivity to the microchip in your camera. We'll go over this a little bit next week when we get into full manual mode. Just go ahead for now and set that on your 100. You can just keep that at the setting of 100 for now. Okay, so when you go outside and shoot, and the video that I put up from YouTube talks a lot about metering. Okay, this right here is your meter. Okay, 0 signifies that you're at perfect exposure. That means when you get that little button, let's see if I can get it there. There we go. If I can get that little dot right around the 0, then that's telling me that my picture is going to be perfectly exposed. Okay? If when I'm messing with my settings, I'm in the minus section, that means my picture is going to be underexposed or too dark. And if I go and I'm in the plus, that means my picture is going to be overexposed or it's going to be too bright. When we work with silhouettes, we are typically going to intentionally make the exposure underexposed because we want to blacken out the subject. Okay, so when you're doing this, you're going to have to do some trial and error. You're going to want to focus directly into the sky, not directly on your subject, and you're going to want to find the metering for the sky area, and you're going to want to probably shoot underexposed in order to get that blacked out look. Okay, so I'm going to go now and go through my pictures and show you the settings that I used for the pictures that I took in the silhouettes. All right, let's compare these two pictures. You can see the one on the left, I didn't quite get the silhouette that I wanted. She's not quite dark enough. But both pictures have the same exact metering. The shutter speed is 1/160, so that's 1/160th of a second. And then your f-stop for both is f14. Okay, so both pictures, same exact metering, but two different outcomes. That is just because of the placement of the light. Okay, so when you shoot, you want to make sure you are positioning your camera directly kind of behind your subject towards the bright sky. Remember, when you shoot silhouettes, it either must be early morning when the sun is just coming up or dusk as the sun is just setting. This is not going to work in midday when the sun is directly above you, like at noontime. So don't try to do it during those times. Right? My picture on the left, I needed to change my either my shutter speed or my f-stop. So in order to do that, I either needed to take my shutter speed, let in less light to make it darker. So change that, or change my f-stop to make the hole smaller in order to make the entire picture dark. Now let's open up our Lightroom app. This picture here, I almost got it correct, but I can fix this with editing. If you go and you mess with your exposure, you can darken your entire image. And then if you go down to the blacks area tab at the very bottom and go all the way to the left, you can kind of fix that to make it a perfect silhouette. And now it's perfect in the editing app. And I can go ahead then and export that to my camera roll and save it into my gallery. Okay. The next picture that I have is almost perfect. It really requires very little editing. You can see his shirt. There's just a little bit of light. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go to the light fixture at the top, and I'm gonna slide my blacks kind of all the way over to the left-hand tab. And then I got rid of all of the light area, and I'm gonna export that to my camera roll as well and save it to my gallery. Think about composition when you're doing silhouettes. Interesting spaces really make a difference, like in that shoe area. Look at that beautiful shadow down by the feet there with the that plastic pipe that she was standing on. And try to get some areas with positive and negative space. That's really important. So position, if you're doing a figure, position that figure so the hands or the arms are up to create interesting positive and negative spaces. Trees make excellent silhouetted shapes. And try to avoid things like we talked about before with compositions where like things are jutting out of the head. Like this composition right here where that big tower in the background is just like coming out of her head. We want to avoid things like that. When you're finished with this assignment, if you want to post it to your art Instagram, I would love to see it. If you're struggling with this and need help, feel free to email me anytime and I can give you some advice.